Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not, and you're listening to the Potter Than Hell podcast with Steve, BC, BB, and Dylan. But you knew that, didn't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hello there, Potter Than Hellions. Welcome back to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is Steve, your host, and across from me is
BC.
And on keyboards this evening will be
Dylan.
And across from Dylan is our cool returning guest that we've had here several times. It's been a while since we've had him back. Mr. Jim Polkowski, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing fine tonight. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Glad to have you aboard. And I want to thank everybody for listening, tuning in, and everything. And we did the Love and War episode last week. That was pretty fun, wasn't it, BC?
It's all about love and war. And I was surprised last week by how much love there was.
Wait, you thought war was going to win?
I thought war would win, but there was a lot more love than war.
Well, you're just a romantic at heart.
That's true. He is. What do you think, Dylan?
No, it was a lot of fun. Like we said, it was pretty difficult finding songs with war in them. At least songs that were within the format and songs that we liked.
That were worthy.
Worthy of the
But it was a lot of fun. It was a cool topic to do it on, especially for Valentine's Day weekend. We could cater to everybody, the people that have someone to celebrate with and the people that have themselves.
Absolutely. All right, and I'm going to talk a couple seconds about the Whitesnake episode because I had some comments on Facebook that I didn't get a chance to read last week because actually the episode wasn't even out when we recorded. So,
yep.
Daniel Peoples said, stop 20 minutes in to go back through the catalog. I'll be back with some thoughts later. Completely agree with the Dead Daisy statement as well as Robert Mason Love. All right. Yes, I got another disciple, BC. And also glad someone else is talking about the Renegades album. There's a good shot for BC. Daniel Peoples got back to us. I still don't know the catalog well enough to give a list, but I will say the 87 album is where I started and hits most close to home. Most of the albums after Slip of the Tongue are solid, but haven't stuck to me yet, though Good to Be Bad did surprise me when first listening to it. I didn't expect the power and oomph that I got. I had my aunt's 87 cassette to listen to for years, and I got Slip of the Tongue from Columbia House when it was released. And the early albums of Whitesnake were always in the bargain bin. Actually, he said this is how he discovered Whitesnake's Bat Out of Hell, and how he was listening to the older albums. It's really long. Thank you, Daniel Peoples. Excellent. And actually, I apologize because I didn't see this other comment until like really right now. Jim, he chimed in here about how he likes the old shit.
That's me. I'm an old fart.
Yep, he is. He might be the oldest person we've had on the podcast. But he's still handsome, though. He's still handsome.
Yeah, you've been sober.
That's right. Aaron Martell. Great episode, fellas. It occurs to me that we haven't covered Whitesnake on our show either. What the hell? That's true that they haven't either, which, like I said, it's crazy. Brad Rustoven, great episode on the Mighty Whitesnake. I'm more of a slide-it-in forward guy. I have all their stuff, but not as familiar with the pre-slided-in material. I've seen Whitesnake 4 times, and those two were during their heyday, once in 87, once in 90. I'm a sucker for lists, so here you go. Slide It In, Slow and Easy, Spit It Out, Bad Boys, Still of the Night, Slip of the Tongue, Cheap and Nasty, Now You're Gone, Can You Feel the Wind Blow, Lay Down Your Love, Tell Me How, Love and Treat Me Right, Good to See You Again, Shut Up and Kiss Me, If I Can't Have You. Excellent. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it. And check out Brad every Thursday. Slamfest podcast comes out. Check him out. Very cool podcast. My buddy Mike Bachnovich, solid picks from all. Hidden Gem was excellent. And based on Vandenberg discussion, it reminded me of the run Vi had in that time frame. Good stuff. So thank you guys for tuning in with us and giving us your thoughts on the episodes. And we appreciate it. And I liked last week's episode. It was cool doing the Love and War songs. It's always fun doing that because someone always throws something out there that someone's not familiar with, and it always works out like that. It always comes out pretty cool. So, Dylan, you were going to say you were going to go into something.
Oh, did you want me to do that now?
Yeah, why not?
So last week from when we were recording Saturday Night Live, a show that's been on the air for since
Ever.
the 70s.
I remember watching it live. Told you I was old.
See?
They had Dan Levy as the host, and they had Phoebe Bridgers as the musical guest. The musical guest. That's my Don Pardo. But she, at the end of her one song, smashed her guitar into one of the monitors, because it was kind of building up to the song. And everybody is up in arms about it, that she smashed her guitar. David Crosby chimed in saying, instruments are for playing, not for smashing. And I just want to call out the hypocrisy of all that and think it's BS that she's getting such flack for smashing an $85 guitar into a fake monitor. It's not like it was a surprise. But it's like that's what music is about, the passion, the emotion. And
You're going to not like what I'm about to say. It's like people used to get upset with Paul Stanley bringing out the cheap guitar to smash.
Yeah.
But it's good economics,
Yeah.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
But whereas everybody said, no, Who, at least they smashed their top-of-the-line stuff
Yeah.
and put it back together with duct tape and crazy glue.
Why does David Crosby have to fucking chime in? He's the one, Eddie Van Halen, meh. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, why do they quote this asshole that has nothing to do with rock and roll at all?
They had asked Dave Grohl about it, and Dave Grohl's like, "Yeah, man, that's really cool."
Good job, Dave Grohl.
Nirvana, they would smash
Fuck
their
that
instruments
shit.
all the time.
BC,
Sometimes
there's
smash
starving
your own
children in Africa
Yeah.
that don't have guitars to play to. They could be playing that guitar that she smashed.
So you're saying we should start a fund?
Huh?
A GoFundMe?
We'll buy guitars for kids.
There you go.
Kids need guitars. Absolutely. What do you think about that, BC? You look shocked that people were up in arms about something stupid.
That's America for you.
It's America for you. Exactly. And like you said, David, he always has to chime in. Like, he's a nobody now.
I don't think he ever was at anybody.
Well, there's a lot of
Has he
people
done
out there.
anything relevant in the last 40 years?
Oh, God, no. Other than bitch. That's not really relevant. But
I call it the Sebastian Bach syndrome. Where
Dude.
he's not doing anything, so he has to
Chime
comment
in
on
and
other people's
get his
stuff
name
to
out
be
there.
in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Hickey 6.
And speaking of
Yeah.
stupidity,
Oh, I
you have something else for us too, don't you, Doug?
The nominees? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, dear God.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame announced their nominees for the 2021 Hall of Fame. Some names that we recognize, some names that we don't. Some bands that have been nominated before, and some bands that have not. Waiting for the page to load. It's taking an awful long time. There we go. Okay. So, the nominees are Jay-Z, Carole King,
Okay, worthy.
Tina Turner,
Worthy.
Mary J. Blige,
No.
Kate Bush,
Yes.
Devo,
Yes.
Foo Fighters,
No.
The Go-Go's,
Nah.
Iron Maiden,
Hell yeah.
Shaka Khan again, Fela Kuti, LL Cool J, New York Dolls,
Yes.
Rage Against the Machine, Todd Rundgren, I always say that name wrong, and Dionne Warwick. So there's
Dionne Warwick.
Dionne Warwick, yep.
Well, Diane was nominated before and didn't get it, so I'm going to
Yeah,
give it
that's
to
true.
Dia.
Yeah. So, Shaka Khan have been nominated.
Shaka Khan.
If this is the year that Shaka Khan gets in, Iron Maiden does it, I'm going to lose my
Iron Maiden-
shit.
Iron Maiden not getting in.
Foo Fighters,
won't get in.
Foo Fighters, I think this is their first year being eligible. Because I think it's a 25-year,
Since their first album. I
yes,
believe,
it's their first album, and
Yeah.
that's when they're eligible.
I personally don't give a fuck about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I like calling them out because of how stupid it is. Did you ever see the movie One Crazy Summer where the dude's he's on the phone and he's trying to win the $1 million on the radio contest all summer long, and then he finally gets through at the end. And he's like, "Oh my God, I won!" And he jerks the phone, pulls it out, and someone else wins. And he goes and blows up the radio station. That's what's going to happen if Shaka Khan gets in and fucking Iron Maiden doesn't. Someone's going to go blow up the fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, you know who owns the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
It's Rolling Stone.
And that's why you're not going to see Maiden or Priest or bands like that get in.
I think the Foo Fighters have a real chance, honestly.
I think so too because
They
David
do,
is.
and there was one more too, I think.
New York Dolls, I'm surprised, aren't in there. Because they've been pretty influential.
Yeah,
But they didn't. Yeah, but I don't know. They didn't really. They only had a couple albums out, right?
but they're not
Okay,
right.
look at. This may sound like sacrilege, but look at Guns N' Roses. I don't think they deserve to be in there. They had one album, but if you base it on the impact that they had,
Yeah.
then they definitely deserve to be in there.
Yeah. Well, they
That's
said
what they
that
say.
the
The
main
biggest thing is-
influence is the main thing is influence.
Yeah.
And Iron Maiden don't.
And they've been under the influence.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think out there? Let us know. It's
Yeah.
always a clusterfuck. It's
Fun
crazy.
times.
And BC and I got terrible news this week. Fucking terrible news this week. They canceled the Monsters of Rock for this year.
Did they?
Again, yeah.
Okay.
I thought they were doing an island or something.
It was.
Yeah.
It was going to be, but the
Too much.
the stuff that they were going to have to put into place to
It was
test everybody there. Well, they got there, then test everybody when they left, and house the people. Like it was
gonna be
it wasn't
a whole-
cost. It wasn't cost effective for them to do it.
It was going to be another fire festival, probably, if it
Yeah.
went through.
No, well, I mean they're an established thing, so I don't. But I don't. I just think logistically they couldn't do it.
The world isn't
So
ready yet.
yeah. So I'm thinking we stand a better chance next year of actually being on a ship because they're supposed to during the summer slowly open up cruise lines and see how it goes. So hopefully by then, Kiss Cruise will be good to go,
There you go.
and then Monsters of Rock will be good for next year. So I'd rather BC. I would rather wait another year than have to go on an island and wear a mask the whole time and have all these
You have some
restrictions
really weird
and
tan lines
shit.
with that one.
No, I know. Yeah, really.
True. Very true.
You know what I mean? I would rather wait.
Yeah.
You know,
Like-
it's already paid for, so we can just roll our money over into our cabin for next year. So I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah, I agree, because I'm sure there's going to be other restrictions.
Yeah.
You weren't going to be able to be like we were on a ship.
Right.
So, yeah, I have no problem waiting another year.
I think the whole concert scene and everything's going to open up at a club level first and then build from there.
Yeah, go small and
Yeah, and just
see how that works in a microcosm and then expand gradually.
because I see like people, oh, it's going to be reserved seating. I say, that's not a concert. I want to be smashed in there with people, you know, sweating, stepping in vomit, the whole 9 yards. That's a concert.
I threw up once.
I just don't like the vomit stuff.
I threw up once. Jesus. I'm late for life.
Yeah. All right. So, what do you guys think about that out there as well? It's it's a different world we live in now, which sucks ass. But what are we listening to? Jim, what are you listening to these days? We'll go
I've been
first with you. It's
playing
been a
the
while.
hell out of the new Accept CD. I put it in and it hasn't left, and I think on the scale of 1 to 10, it's definitely a 9.9. You know, I'm hoping that they'll get to tour, and we'll get to see them, and they'll play a boatload of stuff off of it. I think it's a fantastic CD.
All right.
I agree with Jim on that one. I finally forced myself to take that out of the player, and then I gave more time for MSG with Immortals. I mean, very good. I mean, he has a cast of musicians and vocalists. It's different. I like it.
Is it cohesive all the way through? Because that's the thing that would make me nervous. That it would be too helter-skelter.
No, it's the one vocalist. I can't think of who he is off the top of my head now. It's like, other than that, Doogie White, and
I love Doogie's voice.
Michael Voss.
Michael Voss, yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on the other guy. Robin McCauley, unfortunately, only sings on like the group. There's a group tune at the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did have his own
Should I
tune.
check it out? Is it worth it?
I think it is. I liked it.
I heard like 3 songs off it. I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole thing yet, but I liked what I heard so far. The one singer might have been the one that you don't like. There was one I was like kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, I heard him like.
I mean, not horrible,
No.
but like kind of was not as good as the other ones that I heard.
musically, the tune's good, and the vocals I don't think fit with it.
Yeah.
There's no Cookie Monster vocals on there, please.
No.
Thank
No.
God.
Dylan, how about you?
Finally, the new Foo Fighters album, Medicine at Midnight, came out. I was able to listen to it front to back. And actually, they have like an animated album cover on Apple Music. I just noticed when I pulled it up. But the album's different. It's got some really good songs, but there's a lot more pop influence in this rock album. But there's some songs I really enjoy: Cloud Spotter, Waiting on a War, No Son of Mine, Holding Poison. But there's one song called Chasing Birds that's just god awful. It's not good. And Shame Shame I'm also not a fan of. So it's like I'll give it a 5 or a 6, maybe a 7.
No Son of Mine. Is it a Genesis cover? Or is it
No, it's a song completely their own. It would be cool if they cover Genesis. I wouldn't put it past them because they do like doing live covers.
Right.
But it's a completely new song that they wrote. It's good. It's a rocker.
Okay. Me, I've been spinning a lot of vinyl at my house. I've been not replenishing, but building up my my Saxon collection. I've been listening to some Saxon. I actually got Sacrifice and Battering Ram in the mail today. Yes, some of my shit's actually coming in. But I threw out some Crew the other night, BC. I'm like, you know what? I want something. But for some reason, unless you have it, Dylan, I can't find my Too Fast for Love album.
Give it back.
I don't think I do have it.
I don't know. It's just it's not there. But I started with Shout, went through that, and I'm like, I have my original copy. It's all crackly in the beginning, you know, and did that. Listened to got all the way through Theater of Pain, and that album gets bashed. It's good, and I look at the earlier Crew albums like I did like the old Kiss albums. It was what was out then. It was what you were listening to.
Yeah, but I think that album gets labeled because of
the glam
smoking
shit
in the boys' room.
Yeah,
which I think.
You prefer the original, or you just don't like either?
But I'll tell you what, I don't give a shit what anyone. Home Sweet Home is a good fucking song.
It is. I mean, when it first came out, you're like, ballad on, you know.
But then when it kicks up for the solo and everything, that's friggin' fantastic.
When's his solo album coming out, damn it?
I don't know. It was supposed to come out like two or 3 years ago.
It was done, and
it was done, and then shit can. It was supposed to be him and John
Corabi. I actually want to
he
listen to music from.
Stuff,
I agree.
He redid it with, I forget the guy's name. Didn't you ever heard nothing about it?
You haven't heard anything else, yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see. And actually, I'll talk about the other one that I was listening to when it'll tie into to my hidden gem. Okay, so now it is Motorhead time. We are Motorhead, and we play rock and roll. All right, so last time we left off, the last album we did was 1916. We were into the Wurzel period of Motorhead. The first episode that we did with Jim and Motorhead was episode 41, if you want to go back and check that out. And the last one we did with Motorhead was episode 87. So we left off with 1916, which is kind of weird because you had the song 1916 that, you know, just kind of him like talking in that with the music and stuff, which was really like crazy because, you know, I read a bunch of stuff about that people played it for veterans and stuff like that, and, you know, and it really, really got to them and everything like that. So that was like literally the last song that we left off at. And then we go into, now we're still in the Wurzel period, but as Jim's going to tell us, this is a very transitional time for Motorhead because there was a lot of stuff going on here.
This I call their floundering years because they were just trying to find, instead of just AC/DC's been accused of making the same album over and over again, and that's what Motorhead needed to be accused of during this time, it seems. Like when you gave me the list of stuff, I was like, wanted to text you, do I really have to listen to March or Die? Do I? But it has some moments on it. I mean, Hellraiser is definitely a classic. It's just a killer tune. I think it blows the Ozzy version right out of the water. Cat Scratch Fever, not bad. I think it fits better in the covers compilation that they put out a few years back instead of putting it on an album. A couple other ones I like. I think for Jack the Ripper stuck out for me, but it just seemed like they were trying to go Hollywood, trying to get a sound. Let's get on MTV, and that's not Motorhead. Motorhead is just, we are what we are. If you don't like it, there's the door, and that's where it kind of lost me. And it's just like the Ain't No Nice Guy with Ozzy. No, I'm just going to leave it at that. You know, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. So I'll just be quiet with that one.
Yeah. So we just won't say anything. Yeah, well, like I was saying, I mean, they were having problems with Phil Taylor. He seemed uninterested in being in the band and practicing, and you know they would, you know, Phil Campbell said they would be sitting practicing, going over songs and stuff like that, and they would send the demos out for what they were going to do, and he would come in the studio totally unprepared, and they said that his attitude was that way, and his playing was like he couldn't keep time, and he was kind of losing his shit. So they brought in Tommy Aldridge, played on pretty much on the whole album. The only song that Phil Taylor played on, I guess, is I Ain't No Nice Guy. So
which barely has drums in it.
Yeah. So I mean, you got Tommy Aldridge on there playing drums, which is fantastic.
Phenomenal drummer.
And Mickey D played on Hellraiser.
Yeah.
But Tommy Aldridge played on everything else that they did. And so BC, what do you think about March or Die?
I don't know. I mean, I put it on. I mean, there's some key elements from Motorhead before, but to me, I found it very, I don't know, over the board, or some of the, standouts to me were, I like the Cat Scratch Fever cover, but like I said, it's cover tune. Bad Religion was not bad. You better run. Not too bad. Like Too Good to Be True seemed vocally differently. I don't know what he was trying to do on that song.
Like I said, I think they were trying to find themselves. I think if you look online, a lot of people, it seems to be popular is let's rank albums. This is consistently down at the bottom, and I think it's because they weren't true to themselves.
And some songs just seem to be kind of catchy, which to me is not. I don't know. Motorhead.
Too poppy for you, BC?
Too poppy for to be. Motorhead is just straightforward.
Go for your throat.
Yeah, nothing polished, nothing fancy, just grit. There's some good parts in this, but like I said, Ain't No Nice Guy. I heard that. I was like,
yeah, that's just like
I had to pick up my see if it
clicked onto another band.
Clicked onto something else. And I was like, first you have acoustic and you have piano and then Ozzy.
Well, I also look at like you were talking about 1916, how that worked so well, and then it's almost like they said, well, we have to do something like that, but can't we get a ballad so we can get on the MTV? And I think that's where I think there was too many outside influences, and Lemmy lost the plot. But
what do you think, Dylan?
So I'm not as familiar with the back catalog of Motorhead. I know, of course, Ace of Spades. I know that album. I know like the Overkill stuff, but I'm not as well versed. I would say as you guys, because I haven't been on the previous Motorhead episodes. I think this is my first Motorhead episode.
Oh, is it really?
I think so. So I wasn't as disappointed by the change of pace for them, I would say. For me, I like the back half of the album more than the front half. Like from Hellraiser down, besides the last track, which I don't like, March or Die, I really enjoy all those songs. Hellraiser, of course, like they crank up the bass on it, and it's fantastic.
It's a different style of bass for him.
Yeah, it very, very much so. It's got kind of a groove to it that's very much like he's going on a walk, which isn't usually what you hear Lemmy do.
Yeah, Lemmy plays chords usually.
Yeah, it's just play
a single note isolated. It's like
Asylum Choir, like that's a nice, good, fast pacer. Too Good to Be True. That was really catchy for me, and I enjoyed the catchiness.
It is catchy. To me, that does seem.
I like hearing Motorhead's take on the 12-bar blues song with "You Better Run." Like it's got the 12-bar blues time signature, and Slash has a really good solo in it. And then Name in Vain is a really kick-ass song. And if they ended the album with that, I would have been super happy. But they ended with March or Die, which is, it almost seems like they were trying to do 1916 again. Yeah. But they did not succeed with that ending. And I'm not really a big fan of their Cat Scratch Fever cover.
Yeah. Yeah, March or Die was album number 10 for these guys. Came out August 14th, 1992. It's 46 minutes and 46 seconds long, and produced by Pete Soley. And I didn't mind this record. I liked the production on it. Stand, the beginning's like da-da, da-da, like kind of like a beginning like overture in the beginning, just that very first part of it. I kind of liked it to a fast rocker. No stupid intros. That's one thing I love. You don't have the atmospheric bullshit with Motorhead. Cat Scratch Fever, I'm not a great fan of this version. I don't know. I like some of the covers that Lemmy has done. Yeah. Like Heroes is fantastic.
Good cover.
I don't think he does good on this one. The solo rips, though. The solo absolutely rips. Bad Religion, it's got like a chugging build-up, great groove. This was the time, I mean, in myself, Jim, and BC have lived it. This was the time when all the televangelists were getting fucking bashed. Almost every band out there that had an album out within this period had a song about these guys. You have Mr. Tinker Train from Ozzy. You got this from these guys. Holy Smoke from Maiden. Like everyone was bashing on these guys. So this is Motorhead's version of that. The solo, like, friggin' cranks on it. Jack the Ripper. And when I do my notes for these episodes, I always do a little star next to the songs I really like. And Jack the Ripper, I love it. It's got like an urgent kind of thing. It's got a cool like whammy bar, wah-wah pedal solo in it. Really cool breakdown for the second solo. And you get You get that kind of evil laugh from Lemmy in there. Really cool. I ain't no Mr. Nice Guy. I'm with Jim. I'm not a fan of the song. I think it's fucking terrible. The only cool part I like on it is I don't even like Ozzy's vocals on this one. Slash's solo is good, but it's not great. That's kind of a throwaway song for me. I'm totally with Jim. Hellraiser, I will take this version over Ozzy's version any day. Okay. It like just amps up this song. It's so goddamn heavy. The only thing that it's missing is when it goes back into the last verse on the Ozzy version, you get the big pick scrape. You don't get that on this version. That's the only thing I'm like listening to. I'm like, okay, here comes the pick scrape, and it's not on this one. I really missed that. So that's the only thing I really didn't. I was like, but I can live with it. Asylum Choir, good up-tempo rocker, typical Motorhead song, cool groove to it. Don't you think that'd be a cool band name? Asylum Choir. That'd be an awesome fucking band name.
Never thought of that. That's pretty cool.
And Too Good to Be True, not bad. Good solo in it. You Better Run. I was like Motorhead blues. I'm like, oh god. It's got the honky tonk piano in it. I was like, meh, at the start, but then when the guitars start and the back and forth with the bass and the drum and the bass and the guitars and shit, it's cool as fuck. I'm thinking, not another. All I can think of is the Pat Benatar and the Peter Criss version of You Better Run. I'm thinking, oh my god, not another fucking version of that. But like this one, there's some rockin' shit in that song. Name in Vain, another fast rocker, really good. March or Die, you're right, Dylan. They're trying to do 1916 over again. So as far as I'm concerned, it's like a, let's see, 9-song album, because I would get rid of Ain't No Mr. Nice Guy and March or Die. But
what would you title the album?
I don't know. I think Asylum Choir would be a cool album name too.
There you go. I can picture the artwork.
Yeah, March or Die. It's, I don't know. And that's another way they copied off from 1916, because it was the last song on that album, and this is the last song on this album. But I do like when they do March or Die, they have the umlauts over the O and R and or. But not bad, though. I don't mind it. I thought it was good. I thought the production was good on it. And actually, when they were doing this album, the Rodney King riots were going on in Los Angeles, and they were recording in Los Angeles. And it was either Lemmy or Phil Campbell. They said they turned on the TV, and they're like, hey, there's a building on fire. It was literally the building across the street from them. So they had to stop recording for a while because, I mean, anyone that's listening to this that lived through that was fucking insane when that shit was going on in Los Angeles. So, dangerous album to make. And I'm surprised that they didn't, like, they have an album later on down the road called Inferno. I'm surprised, like, they didn't call this one Inferno or something like that, you know what I mean? But, I mean, that shit was scary to watch on television. I can only imagine being there. You know, here you are recording, rock and roll, and you go outside and
they're in their own little bubble, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was crazy. So I liked the album, though. I thought it was good. Definitely not in my. I don't. It doesn't fall in the bottom of my albums for me, Jim. But it's not.
Me, I'd have to agree with that.
It's not in the top half, but it's not in the bottom. But it's just good. It's got some interesting stuff on. Like I said, Hellraiser for me is just like fantastic. I think it's
that
great.
You kind of wish the other 9 songs were in that vein.
Yeah, and so I mean it was cool, and with Phil Campbell, because this was not Phil Campbell. I'm sorry, Phil Taylor. He came back in the band because he had quit for a while. He came back in the band, and now he was going
first
out
show
again.
Was in Old Forge, I believe.
What's that?
First show back was in Old Forge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was at that show. It was called the Animal Is Back tour, and that was the first one. I know I'd have to go through some gigographies to find out, but I would be willing to bet money that was the first show with him back.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, we didn't get to see Motorhead till '90. Actually, it might have been on this tour, the next one, because it was when they played. Harvey's Lake.
Harvey's Lake. I think that was 95. So
95? Okay.
It
was, yeah, because I'll have to look, because it was when Black Sabbath had Forbidden out. Forbidden was out for Black Sabbath.
Wasn't there a third act on that bill?
Kicks. They got rained out.
No loss.
Oh, we got some good stories from that concert.
I have some from that too.
All right, so they get done with that, and these guys were road dogs, and they would just tour. They were always the band that never really was like the headline. Like they'd headline a big club or something like that, but they always got good gigs. They opened. I think they even opened up for the Stones. Stones rock.
You could be right, but I'm not.
It must be Guns N' Roses. I'm thinking Guns N' Roses opening for the Stones. They opened for Guns N' Roses. They opened for like freaking everybody. So then they come off the road, back into the studio again, and I like the consistency of these guys too. They never stopped making albums.
No.
They never really did. They were just consistent through all the years from when they started. So they go into the studio in 1993 for Bastards.
Yeah, this is a lot of people, and myself would put this in the top echelon of Motorhead albums because it's just like, this is what we want. Go for the throat all the way through it. And I think they felt the backlash of everybody saying, what the hell? And we're going to show you what we can do. And they just pounded it out. I mean, it's got like On Your Feet or On Your Knees. Okay, they're trying to be Bloister Cult there. Not. But it just, Born to Raise Hell, it's like, there's really is hardly, I wouldn't call a bummer on this album at all. I mean, it just takes you by the throat from one end to the other, and it's just what I want from a Motorhead album. And they just, I know there was turmoil in it. I believe this was the last one with Wurzel, if I'm not mistaken. They said he just played maybe one solo on it, and the rest was all Mr. Campbell. I don't know. It's just they say turmoil and everything can breed a good album, and I think that's what it was with them also. Is like the friction, and they just anger at, here's a guy who's got the goods, but he's not delivering the goods, so they're just pissed, and they're pissed about everybody slagging them, and they just, fuck it, we're going for it.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes up more on the next album, I think, because he's on most of the stuff on here. I think he only played really on 2 songs on the next album.
Okay, I may have flipped it.
But they said that he was starting to like accuse Lemmy of stealing his money and stuff, and like he was getting crazy, and another one that didn't want to practice and stuff like that. But this album came out November 29th, 1993. First album produced by Howard Benson. Reading Lemmy's book, they used to abuse the fuck out of this guy, like scream at him all the time and shit, and this guy just took it and kind of rolled with the punches and stuff, and he turned out a good album here. On Your Feet or On Your Knees was really good, and I like this one too because it sounds like when you drop the needle on the album as soon as it starts, and you get that little fuzz and it comes in. Burner is fucking, this is I think I'm Mickey D, motherfucker, and this is my band now. I'm in this band. I think he puts his 2 feet down in this one and just fucking goes crazy. I love it. Death or Glory, good rockin' song. I like the doubled vocals on this one. I think it's produced really well, and you can tell the different production values on this album from the last one. Although I like the production on the other one too, but you can tell it's different. Death or Glory, you got the Hey Hey Heys in that one also, BC. But the breakdown, there's a kick-ass fucking bass part breakdown in this song. But the drums are the standout on this song for me. I Am the Sword. Right now I'm like, holy fuck, this album is just blowing my socks off right now. And the thing about this album too is it really wasn't released in the States. They recorded it with a German record label, and they didn't push it, so this was hard to get when it came out.
This stuff is hard. It's hard to find now. You could find it as in a used overseas, but you're going to pay 4 times the amount in shipping.
Yeah, it was tough to get then. Like you said, even tough to get now. I actually do have a CD of this, which I was surprised. I didn't think I had it. Born to Raise Hell, good mid-tempo, foot-stomping one, great solos in it. Don't Let Daddy Kiss Me, horrible. I'm sorry, this song is just terrible. And apparently he tried to shop it to like Joan Jett and Lita Ford and stuff like that, and they didn't want to do it, which thank God. It's I don't know, Lemmy trying to do the version of Janie's Got a Gun, subject-wise. It's horrible. I mean, the subject matter is terrible, but it's not good. It's just not a good song. Bad Woman, back to thank God, back to the rocking songs. I'm sorry. Honky Tonk Piano, it's got a really rock and roll vibe to it. Liar, it's got a really, the song is so convoluted to me. It's like the first part is good, then it gets good, and then it gets run of the mill, and like there's a weird solo with the what is it called? The thing that Tracy Guns uses with the you know what I mean? The theremin, yeah. There's like some of that, and that's kind of sprinkled in a lot of songs throughout this album. But on this one, it's really stands out on this one. Now this album for me, I'm like, wow, Lost in the Ozone. I was like, at the beginning, it goes acoustic, and I'm like, wow, more soft, let me vocals. I'm like, okay. The last minute and a half of this song is fucking unbelievable. The kind of lesser stuff that you listen to at the beginning of the song, the payoff is definitely worth it. The last minute and a half in this song, just absolutely fantastic. I love it. The great, it's like a bass solo, and there's a melodic solo in it. It's fantastic. Now, my favorite song probably on the album right now is "I'm Your Man." Great heavy song. I love this one. This is probably in my top 10 Motorhead songs. Fucking love this song. Solo's rip. It's got a great tempo change. For the second solo, it just freaking rips. We Bring the Shake. Another mid-tempo start. And this one has got a kind of a poppy feel on it, like some of the songs on the last one. Like in the verses. But the choruses are cool. I like it. Devils. This one's not bad. It's got like a really melodic first solo, and the second one just goes crazy with some shredding. It's great. I felt it a little filler first time I listened to it, again, but then it grew on me after at the end. But it drags out too long at the end. It goes on and on and on the same thing. They could have cut at least a minute and a half off this song, and it would have been good. When it finally fades out, it's cool, but like it just takes so fucking long to get there. I really liked it. This is like pretty much their last album with Wurzel, but I thought those guys were a great duo though. And when we do the live album, I'll get more into that. There's some really cool ripping guitars on this. What do you think, PC?
All right, we're back to the Motorhead I love here. The Fast and Furious on your feet or on your knees. I was like, okay, this is good. Burner, to me, I guess after this song, drums. Mm-hmm. And of course, the solo is good. Death and Glory, fast. This is Motorhead to me. In that drum and bass, little
back and forth.
Midway to, I don't know the word I'm fucking looking for, God damn it.
Duo?
No, not really. Just a little breakdown. That sticks out to me in the song. I love this the guitar riff in I Am the Sword. Born to Raise Hell, classic Motorhead. Don't Let Daddy Kiss Me. Yeah, you better not kiss me. I heard this, I was like, oh, not again.
I was like, right back to,
I'm like, oh my God. So
thanks, but no thanks.
Anyway, right that Bad Woman there. You have the back to straightforward rock and roll, a little piano there, not too bad. The drums again, drums stand out. Majority songs. Liar, I like it because it's a little bit slower groove, not rip your face off. Lost in the Ozone, like I said, middle or two, and I was like, but then the last minute and a half, 2 minutes, that song. Save it for me. I'm Your Man. Just love the guitar and drum together in the song. Just the groove, like I said, that would definitely be one of my favorites off this album. We Bring the Shake. The opening riff is a little bit different, but overall not too bad. And Devil is the guitar is a little different in this, and it just it
drags.
It wasn't catching me. It was just okay in my book.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite album of the night, I would say. Just front to back, it's a fantastic album. I don't have a problem with Don't Let Daddy Kiss Me. I think that Lemmy's performance on it is very heartfelt, and he clearly cares a lot about the song and the subject matter he's trying to talk about. Like I don't think Motorhead should be barred from doing songs like this because it showcases a different side of them. It doesn't really fit on the album, I would say. It really just puts a big wall in between the front half and the back half of the album with that song. But I don't think it's as bad as you say it is, Dad.
I can
understand why it's not your cup of tea, but I don't know. I really enjoy when I get to hear Lemmy emote, like the one song on Bad Magic that he does.
Oh yeah.
Like that's
to the end.
Yeah, like that. Just I like seeing that side. I like seeing that side of Lemmy because you get to hear just the gravelly, rough Lemmy all the time, and I like a little change of pace every now and then. But this is just a great album front to back. Death or Glory and I'm Your Man are definitely my two favorites on it. It's great hearing the band gel and do what they do best, because it was cool to hear them go off, on different tangents on the album before. But this is, from the first track, I'm like, okay, this is the Motorhead that I'm used to. This is the Motorhead that I know from their regular songs, their popular songs, and they're back in that groove. So it's definitely a good album to chase March or Die with, I think.
Okay, it's like your beer chaser after the shot there.
Yeah.
BC. All right, so there's March or Die in Bastards from 1992 and 93. Speaking of singing bass players, the gem song this week is going to be another fantastic bass player that also sings. I'm going to play a song from the new Dead Daisies album with the amazing, fucking awesome Glenn Hughes on vocals and bass. And the song is Bustle and Flow from the Holy Ground album that just came out this year.
Pretty
All right, Hidden Gem time, and we're going to go to Dylan first today.
Okay, I was actually really excited when I found this hidden gem, and it's Motorhead too. So, in 2004, and just bear with me on this journey, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie came out. It was a big movie, had David Hasselhoff in there, Scarlett Johansson. It was the first movie out of this hit show, and there was a soundtrack release for it. And wouldn't you know, Motorhead is on the soundtrack doing a version of You Better Run, but the lyrics are changed to You Better Swim. And they changed it to like fishy lyrics and under the sea stuff, and they re-record the song, and the solos are still fantastic. It's a really good version of the song. Have you listened to it, Dad?
I haven't. I know it's on there, though. I didn't get a chance to check it out.
It's really, really good. Like, I was surprised. I thought it was just going to be a novelty thing, but it's pretty
now,
cool.
Is it the whole song with all the guitar and all that?
It's
just the lyrics are changed?
It's 5 minutes, 14 seconds.
No shit.
I think they re-recorded the instrumentals, too, because it sounds like the production sounds newer.
Oh, yeah?
It sounds like a 2004. It's good. It's really good.
It's like a ma and a newer.
Yeah. Ma newer.
All right, Jim, what do you got?
All right, you were just praising Mr. Glenn Hughes. I think I have something that you may want to seek out. It's by a band called Pace, Ashton, and Lord. Two guys from Purple, right after Purple broke up, with Tony Ashton on vocals and a young Bernie Marsden on guitar. The album is called Malice in Wonderland. I don't believe it charted. It may have went wood in England, if that. They tried to do a tour. Dates were canceled. It's just like nothing worked out for them. But it is a great, funky rock album. If you like Come and Taste the Band, Deep Purple, you will love this album. It's got a groove to it. I like an English funk. And I like I said, I didn't think it was out on CD, but in doing the research for this, I found out that, yeah, it has been reissued with some bonus tracks from the follow-up album that were never was released. But like I said, if you like that era of Purple, you'll like this album. Pace, Ashton, and Lord, Malice in Wonderland came out in March of '77.
All right, I will have to check that out. That's definitely piques my interest. All right, BC, what do you got?
With the help of people next to me. I'm going to go with the Dream Theater. As you know, I'm always doing anything Dream Theater. Back in 2009, after Black Clouds and Silver Linings, in September, they released the single Wither, which the single version of it had like the song, of course, off the album, just the vocals and piano version of it.
Yeah.
But the one that I'm going to use as a gem, to me, is the version of it with John Petrucci, their guitar player, doing the vocals, which he did pretty damn good, I think, for just being a genius guitar player. So I have to give it up for the guitar player and taking over the vocals.
Would I like it? That's a no. That's a no.
Well,
Maybe.
I don't know.
You've been surprised before.
That's true. That's true.
It's not typical Dream Theater. It's lower tune.
All right.
But
Now,
I think it gets stuck out with John Petrucci and vocals to me.
Yeah.
it's weird. Like really weird serendipitous shit's been happening to me in the last 2 weeks. Like I would literally think of something in the morning, and it would happen at night. Like I was going to work Saturday, and for some reason, I don't know, I was thinking, boy, I haven't seen the movie The Producers in a while. The original, the only fucking good one, by the way. It just popped into my head. Boy, I haven't seen that movie in years. Literally, 9 o'clock at night, it came on Turner Classic Movies. I'm like, holy fuck, there it is. So I watched it.
I watched it a couple of weeks ago. It was on there, and I was thinking the same.
And I was like, it was just weird. And then I had my gem picked out, and I have the vinyl of the Hearing Aid Stars. And I was going to use that for my gem song. And then but then I was thinking, no, it's too long. But then today, I had it written down to do for my hidden gem. But then I'm thinking, I probably already did that before. But then I was looking on YouTube, and there's a song. It's called "We're Stars, Long Island, 2020," and it's a shout out to the like first responders and medical people and stuff like that on Long Island, and it's in memory of people that have died from COVID and shit. And it's the song "We're Stars," but it's all guys from rock bands from Long Island doing this. It is fucking kick ass. There's like 8 different people singing vocals on it. There's like 7 different guys doing the solos, and the solos absolutely fucking tear it up. I'm like, holy fuck! Dylan's gonna put the link to this song in the show notes. It's on YouTube. I looked at it. I couldn't find it on Spotify or Apple Music. I hope they do though. Wait to hear it, BC. It fucking rips. The vocals are fantastic on it.
YouTube?
It's on YouTube, yeah. And there's one part where it shows different people singing, but it looks like they went out in the street and sing this for. So there's an African American guy, and he sings the one part. I think that I want to say that Jeff Tate sings, but I'm thinking maybe only that because he had a Queensryche shirt on, and it sounds like so it's definitely a girl overdubbed with this show with them showing this guy's fucking funny as shit. The guy's got like 3 teeth in his head, but it's funny, but it's cool though, and it like shows like firefighters and cops and like nurses and EMTs and shit. It's really cool. The video's really cool, but the song is fantastic. I literally listened to it like 3 times today. And it's really, really cool. So absolutely check that out. It's We're Stars, Long Island 2020. That's exactly how it's written on YouTube. And it's just one of them things that just popped up because I was watching the Hearing Aid Stars video where they do the whole thing where they talk to all the guys and then they show they do the singer's portion and then they do the guitarist portion and then the chorus and then they show the whole video. And so it must have been how YouTube, the algorithms and stuff, how, if you watch something and something else will pop up like that. So, but it's really cool. It's really, really cool. So absolutely check that out. So there's our hidden gems for this week. I have We're Stars, Long Island 2020. BC's got Dream Theater from 2009 from the Black Cloud Silver Lining album, the song Wither with John Petrucci on vocals. Dylan's got You Better Swim by Motorhead from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie soundtrack. And Jim's got Pace Ashton Lord with Malice in Wonderland. I'm definitely going to have to check that out from 1977. So let's get back into some Motorhead. The last studio album we're going to do for the evening is Sacrifice. Came out March 27th, 1995. 36 minutes and 44 seconds long. Produced by Howard Benson, Ryan Dorn, and Motorhead. Jim, boom.
All right, this is, like I said, they were having issues with Warzone. This is the album, you are correct, where he only did one solo on it. He just totally wasn't into it, and it was just unfortunately time for them to part ways with him. Like they say, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and he was a very weak link on this one. I don't know whether somebody got into his head and started making them thinking you're bigger than them. You know how that usually goes with bands. And he just bowed out. But from I believe Lemmy mentioned in his book that it was a decision that he felt that Wurzel regretted, was leaving Motorhead, and he would have been, work it out, talk it out, and rock it out, so to speak. It's a short album, like you said. It's only like 36 minutes long. And you think about it, too. The cover is strikingly different in the fact that it's not just black and white. It's brilliant burnt orange and a little kinky. I mean, if you put that one next to Whitesnake's Come and Get It, you might get a baby album out of it. You know what I mean? But it's a decent album. It's got some high moments on it. Let me try and pull up the set list on it. I can't seem to find it on my phone. But it was, like I said, it was a decent album from them. It wasn't, to me, as good as Bastards, but yeah, thank you. It's interesting. I like Sex and Death and Sacrifice and Order, Fade to Black. You're wondering, are they going to go Metallica with this? And it's just like it's a good album. Bastards kind of was you're kind of riding on top, so they're going back hill a little bit, but they're shaking off the rust. They're figuring out what they're going to do, and then eventually they decide, screw it, we're just going to be a 3-piece again, and it worked for them.
So if I was to listen to this album blind, look at the album cover, and somebody were to ask me, what time period do you think this album is from? I would say mid to late 90s, because this sounds exactly like a mid to late 90s album. This sounds like Jugulator. This sounds like Fight. This sounds like the harder, somewhat industrial tinged, but not really, but like the darker kind of production, I would say, in terms of that. It's a solid album, but it kind of blends together for me, as opposed to the other ones where I could piece everything out. Now, this is Motorhead trying to be late 90s, trendy, hard, like heavy metal. And they do a good job of it. It's not like they fail at it, but it's just probably the least interesting album for me of the night. Because the other albums, at least they tried something kind of unique. This one, it feels like they are trying back to trying to go with the trends in my mind. I could be way off base with saying that, but it does sound very much of the time for me. It's a good album, though. It's nowhere near, I would never listen to this again. It's a piece of shit. It's just not what I like to hear from Motorhead all the time.
I agree with Dylan. There was nothing really standing out in this album for me. I got lost a few times in it, but it opens up with Sacrifice. I mean, to me, very different drums, like for your typical Motorhead. Not to say that's bad, but it was different, so I like that. I mean, the drum part was different. I like that. Sex and Death, typical Motorhead, fast and catchy. Over Your Shoulder, good groove to me. I like Order and Fade to Black. To me, it was fast, but heavy, a little bit more heaviness to it. And then Dog Face Boy. I like the guitar riff in the chorus. There's a heavier guitar riff in the chorus. That stood out to me in that one. All Gone to Hell. Good riff, fast chorus. I like I want to say a little bit of Motorhead grindage. Mm-hmm. Not really. It did stand out, but if you really listen to it, you can always hear it. If they did that a little bit more, it'd be like definitely grindage. Make 'Em Blind. The drums and the bass on that stand out to me on that one. Don't Waste Your Time. Okay, good solo, and it had little horns in there, which was different. And then Another Time, to me, I guess one word sums that song up to me, is heavy. And then Out of the Sun, to me, was just okay. But I mean, overall, not a bad album. I don't think they ever put a bad album out. Just not doesn't stick out in your mind as much as others have.
Yeah, for me, this album, I think the production is terrible on this album. Listen to the other two; they're really crisp sounding. This one is like kind of like a muffled type production to it. Sacrifice, like I said, I don't like I was like, as soon as it came on, I'm like, ooh, don't like the production on this one. It's got a cool little drum break in it, but it's like a really jumbled song, a terrible opener, I think. Sex and Death, hard rocker. This would have probably been a better opener. It's a quick rocker, but it would have been a quick boom punch in the face to start an album out with. Over Your Shoulder. This one's got some grindage in it. It's got like a mean, lemmy vocal to it that I really like. And he really, peak growlage on this one. War of War. It's got like this chaotic fade in. It's got a groove. It's I don't know. Some of these songs are just like all over the place. The solo is pretty melodic in it. Like the production on the solos is really layered on this song too. Order, Fade to Black. I'm gonna say the order part of the song sucks. And then it cranks. Great double bass drums in it. The solo is really cool. But it's like it's not a standout track. There's not a whole lot that like really grabs me on this album. Dog Face Boy, cool layered vocals on this one. I guess Wurzel does do a solo on this one, and it kicks ass. All Gone to Hell, typical Motorhead song. Really cool tempo in the middle. The solo saves the song, though. The payoff is worth it on this one because the solo just absolutely fucking tears it up. Now, these next two songs are Lemmy's solo co-writes. The rest of the band, got credit for writing the other songs. Make 'Em Blind. It's got a tribal drum start to it, and like a minute in, I'm like, God, I hope this gets better, and it really does not. The song is like a fucking train wreck for me. It's like a fucking dumpster fire of Motorhead for me. Not a fan at all. Don't waste your time. This one's got it. And one thing I've always liked about Motorhead, they've always, and it's all Lemmy. It's definitely all Lemmy. They've always kept a rock and roll type vibe to their music. This song it's not like all their music, but you always get a song or two with the honky tonk piano. This one's got a saxophone in it, and you think honky tonk piano and saxophone and Motorhead, but it works in this song. It's cool, and you have that like rock and roll feel, like the Bill Haley and the Comets type feel, like the shit that you hear on like the American Graffiti soundtrack, stuff like that. You get that vibe on some of the stuff.
That's Lemmy's roots. Like I said, you take those songs and turn them up to 11, you got a Motorhead song.
Yeah. And it is, and he always brings, in some way, shape, or form in his albums, always brings that out, and I really like that. And actually, my two favorite songs are the last two songs in the album. In Another Time, Heavy Rocker, I really like it. It's got a choppy, wah-wah, laden solo that is really, really cool. Out of the Sun, it's got a single guitar in the vocal start. It's got a really cool kick in. I guess Wurzel does the lead on this as well. There's a really, really cool bass jam at the end of this song, and the guitar rips. I really like this one. I thought it was a great album closer. But overall, the production kind of killed me on this one. I'm glad it was only 36 minutes long. There's some subpar songs on there, but the solos that Wurzel does play on this album really, really rip. And it's a shame that things went the way they did, but it's the music business for a reason. You know what I mean? So, but he did have a good run with these guys, I thought, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that lineup in right now. Let's. What I wanted to do was this album, actually, that we're going to talk about now, the live album, No Sleep at All, came out in 1988, and it was recorded. It came out in October. It was recorded in July of '88. It was recorded at the Giants of Rock Festival in Hämeenlinna, Finland, and
it's too hot in this freezing country.
Yeah, I really like this though, because I wanted to do this one last, even though it came out like before all the ones we talked about, because Sacrifice was such a slog to me. Because if you guys look at my notes, I have the order scratched out like 2 different times here of what we were going to do. Because I was going to do the live one first. But last night when I was going over them, doing my notes, and I went in order, I did March or Die, then Bastards, then Sacrifice. When I got the Sacrifice, I was like, ugh, it was a slog. And then I was just cleaning up my stuff, and I just let this play. And I'm like, it was so refreshing to hear this kick-ass live album after the slog that I felt that Sacrifice was. I was like, I got to have a pick-me-up at the end of this episode, album-wise. The first 2 were really good. Third one just didn't hit me good. But No Sleep at All came out October 15th, like I said, 1988. It's 51 minutes, 37 seconds long, which is a perfect, I think, length for a single live album. Came out. It was cool. I think this may have been the first live album I had from Motorhead, because I don't think I had
No Sleep.
No Sleep till Hammersmith. I don't think I got that one till after I got this one. But what'd you think about it, Don?
I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of fantastic songs on here. Of course, Ace of Spades, Death Forever was fantastic. I really love that version of it. Killed by Death is always a classic. Overkill. I love how he does the beginning of Just Because You Got the Power. He's like, this is the first time we've ever played this live in Finland. Isn't that cool? It's not really, but that was like a really fun little Lemmy moment that I enjoyed. I got a little giggle out of, but yeah, it's a really solid set list. It's just the short and sweet, punchy in the face Motorhead that you know and love. They get in, they rock it out, and they get out. And this is a great album from them.
This is the worst thing that this album has going for it is competing with No Sleep to Hammersmith, which is probably a lot of people's top 5, top 10 live albums of all time. And that's what it has going against it. If you put it play them back to back, you're going to be like, ah. But on its own, it stands tall very, very well. It's it's like you said, it's short, it's punchy. There's classic live albums that are single albums. I would even put them up there because sometimes you just can't get into a double live album. But a Facebook friend of mine actually did an article about this album in January. He was talking about Lemmy's lyrics. He's not simple like screwing lyrics, and some of his stuff is deep. And the one he quoted here, and he's absolutely right, is for Traitor. And you listen to it, can it be more apt than the time we have today? And now your face is shown, and your fate is known. We have discovered you, we have uncovered you. You say you were led astray, fall on your knees and pray. Pity it's not you, we'll make things hot for you. Our hearts we make harden, for there is no pardon. The spite awakes upon the traitor's gate. The crows will eat your eyes, traitor, traitor. Considering what we've gone through in this country, you can't, deep. I mean, no matter what side you're on.
Yeah. What do you think, BC?
Again, this is where Motorhead shines live. I mean, not to take away from any other albums, but when you go to a Motorhead show, you're blown away by it.
Did you ever hear this story when Rudy Sarzo asked Randy Rhoads, who's Motorhead, and Randy said, "You've never heard of them, but most people within 20 miles of the gig will have."
I mean, we saw him that night out in Harvey's Lake. I mean, and I was like, and I'll be honest, before that,
you didn't know the name? Or you knew the name but didn't know the band?
I knew the name, I knew some of the music, but I wasn't like a Motorhead.
Seeing them live, yeah.
Change it. Seeing any band live, I think, if they're good, changes your expect. Like Firehouse. Saw them up, I thought, I was dating this girl, her and her sister was, "Oh, let's go see Firehouse." I'm like, "Oh, all right, yeah, okay." Because then you had that Love of a Lifetime song. Oh, shit. Don't Treat Me Bad. I was like, all right. They came out, I was like,
No,
my mouth hit they were heavy.
they weren't like the singles.
No. They're way heavier. I was like, holy fuck. And then that's when it always sticks in my head. It's like, holy shit. I love when you go somewhere and you're blown away. And this is what Motorhead did to me. I mean,
I know you have some interesting stories from the Harvey's Lake show. A friend of mine that I work with was sitting at the bar with Lemmy drinking at that show. And they're sitting there and like, well, Lemmy is, I gotta go. The intro music was playing. And he's still sitting at the bar drinking.
I believe it. I believe it.
Oh, absolutely.
Gotta go.
Yeah. I would be in I was never, I was in the same boat as BC Motorhead wise. I was never a big, I knew Ace of Spades and I heard a couple songs, saw a couple videos and stuff. But they never really got heavy on my radar. I had this No Sleep album. I had it on CD somewhere, and I just kind of listened to it. And
did you notice with the CD that the track listing is incorrect?
No, I
Take
haven't.
Look at the back of your CD. It lists the album ones without the 2 extra songs listed on it.
Oh, really?
Metropolis and I think Stay Clean.
Stay Clean, yes.
Stay Clean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. But when we saw them open up for Black Sabbath, I was like, holy fuck, we've been missing out.
Yeah. I was like,
and then so it was, I wasn't, running to get a Motorhead tattoo or anything the next day, but that planted the seed. And like BC said, you love when, you go see a show and you really have low or no expectations of how a band is going to be. They're on the bill, so you're going to see them.
Yeah.
And then you're like, holy shit, what the fuck? Now we got to check these guys out. And that was exactly what happened with Motorhead for me. Like people are vocally or whatever. Hey, like I said, if I can get used to the vocals for Amon Amarth, Lemmy is a walk in the fucking park.
Yeah, Amon Amarth, at least he doesn't force it. That's his vocal range.
Right.
That's his natural range.
But it fits the music. Like we talked about that when we talked about Alice Cooper. He's not the best singer in the world, but it fits for the music he's playing. And I think Lemmy does that. And in this album, especially like I said, especially after listening to Sacrifice, and I'm not saying that to dissuade anybody from listening to Sacrifice because there is some really good stuff on there. But I don't know if I was just getting burned out at that point. But when I put this on, it was the loud production. I love the chunkiness of this album because they're a 4-piece. on this show.
When this album first came out, I remember buying it when it came out, and I remember something about it. I don't know, maybe I was in a bad mood that day, or maybe I was comparing it to Hammersmith. I just didn't like it. And then I revisited it a few years back, and I'm trying to find out what didn't I like about it? What was wrong?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a great album. It's a good jumping off point for people who want to get into like the later years, the 4-piece
Right.
years.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
I can listen to an album and love it, and then hear it again and be like, what the fuck? Then go
Well,
back
A
to
lot of it's mood-based. Absolutely.
I'll be honest with you, some of them, it'll be like, if I'm in a bad mood or a melancholy mood and I listen to this album, I'll come back to it 6 months later, be in a good mood, and it'll put me back into that mood that I was in when I first heard it. It almost takes me, like it is a time machine, for better or worse.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, songs on there. Dr. Rock, really cool. Trader is fucking fantastic on there. Dogs is cool. What I like now on this album is Ace of Spades is the 4th song on here. So it wasn't really it was the Motorhead song, but it wasn't like the close the show out with it Motorhead song. Like, we're going to play that
That's
at the end to keep everybody there. It wasn't at that status at that point. Eat the Rich is fantastic. Death Forever is great. And Just Because You Got the Power, that's in my top 5 Motorhead songs. Absolutely fucking love that one. Killed by Death is like right up there too. Song has got such a goddamn groove to it, and I love it. It's fucking fantastic.
Killed by Death is the greatest rock and roll video ever made.
That is cool.
There's something about that video that just...
It's on the bike in the grave. It was fucking awesome. Comes flying out. Freaking cool. Overkill, you can't go wrong with that. Stay Clean. I love the and I don't know what it is about Metropolis. Every time I see that on a set list or live album, I'm like, oh, Metropolis.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And then when
it comes on, and I'm like, I don't know why I have a mental block about that song.
Because you think about Dream Theater, that's what it is.
No, but this is good though.
Yeah,
That's why when you...
Oh, so maybe I'm thinking that. Yeah,
I
believe me. I don't. Very rarely do I think Dream Theater when I think of anything.
You know, you're like when you're talking about Metropolis, I have the same feeling about that one. But you're talking about Ace of Spades is like the Motorhead song, and even Lemmy, like he said, he was sick of it, but you got to play it because that's what people want to hear. When we saw him at the Tower Theater, I'll never forget this guy in the back hammering off his ass, screaming "Ace of Spades!" And when they played it, he's just sitting there. It's like, dude, you've been yelling for this song.
Yeah,
you yelled the whole show,
and now they're playing it, and you're not doing ape shit. Come on, I don't know.
Idiots. Yeah, but just a great live album. The last, they put out that 87 Brixton album, and that was this lineup as well. But that was because that was record companies throwing shit out.
Well, like what Wordsworth that they did in the 70s. Oh, Motorhead's big. Oh, we have this old, let's put it out and just exploit the shit out of the band.
And but like this, I think this is the live album for this lineup. I think it's fantastic. They did a great job. And really, like Overkill and Ace of Spades, they're the only early Motorhead songs
became a
that are on
band
this.
that they didn't have to play the Fast Eddie stuff to keep me happy live. They had so many other songs to fill. And when we saw them, they did only 75 minutes, 80 minutes tops. Mm-hmm. But everything was great. And Lemmy was unfortunately on his last legs, literally.
Oh, good.
And they still brought it.
Still brought it.
I have permanent hearing damage from it, and I just wear that on my sleeve with pride.
All right, coolness. We did March or Die, Bastard, Sacrifice, No Sleep at All. Really like talking Motorhead. I can't believe that it's been so long since we did the last Motorhead episode.
Let's not make it that long for the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have the next batch of albums coming up, and we'll get Jim back for that. And I'm sure we'll have Jim back for something else as well. We'll go around and we'll wrap up and we'll get out of here. Go ahead, Jim.
Friends don't let friends listen to March or Die. I'm sorry. Like I said, when I look, I was like, but you know what? It does have its points, but that's what's great about any music, any style. You can discover something, and there's something for everybody.
This was a really fun episode. If I had to rank the albums, I'd probably go Bastards, the live album, March or Die, and then Sacrifice last, personally. I think the live album, is kind of in a league of its own, personally.
Right.
Because it has all those iconic songs, and it has, their live energy, but it's just 3 out of the 4 albums we talked about tonight were really good and fun to talk about and had some interesting things to say, for me at least. You could listen to a selection of the songs from these albums on our Spotify playlist of the week that I'll include in the show notes. We're going to include Don't Let Daddy Kiss Me. That's going to be there 12 times for you.
Awesome.
And it's going to be great.
There's that skip button.
That's why God invented it.
Another fun episode. I've been a YouTube junkie the past probably month or so. So I was, of course, throwing Motorhead, just pulling up Motorhead from live stuff from throughout the years. It's just, these guys were a machine. And Lemmy, got them one of a kind.
Oh, yeah.
About these albums we're talking about, I'm going to agree. I'm going to go with Bastards, March or Die, or Sacrifice, and the live album. Of course, I'm a live junkie, so that's up here anyway, so I'm not going to count that with the...
I remember talking to a guy who worked with Motorhead, AC/DC, and I said to him, I said, I would say Lemmy and Bon Scott were kind of cut from the same cloth, and he said, I would agree to and put Bob Marley in there, which is kind of like a whole left-handed thing, but can you just like, so you could see it, down to earth, that Jack the Lad, one of the guys, hang out. He'd be sitting here right now, hanging and say, no, I don't agree with you with this, I agree with you on that, and not take offense to it, and just have a good time with it. I mean, we need
Like
more
real people, imagine that.
Craziness. I remember going to the Rainbow. The first time I walked in, it's like, I want to see him sitting there, you know what I
Yep.
mean? Because they have it marked out, like, this is his seat, da-da-da, and the touch game, he was...
They took the game to his apartment.
and he only
awesome.
lived
Like 2 blocks away.
2 blocks away from there, in a regular apartment.
That was it.
Well, there was when he recorded the for the video game Brutal Legend, they brought him into the studio. He's like, I only need 2 things: sleeve of Oreos, bottle of whiskey, and I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And he would just talk and drink and eat the Oreos, and then he'd be like, okay, I'm ready to record, and then he would just do it in one take.
There was the story that Lips from Anvil talks about when they toured with Motorhead, and they were he said, oh, it's a night off, I'm gonna go hang with Lemmy, we'll just relax and we'll just bullshit. So he gets there and they're drinking and so forth, and then Lemmy takes his pocket knife out, sticks it into a bag of some white powder, sticks it under Lips' nose and said, snort. And so he did, and so they're talking. The next thing he hears a knock on the door. Okay, guys, it's showtime. He's like, wait a minute, it's a night off. You've been sitting here for 24 hours talking.
That's crazy. I absolutely believe that. Yeah, Jim, give us your ranks before I give my final
My
thoughts
ranks
here.
would be No Sleep at All, Bastards, Sacrifice, and then No Sleep at All.
So he's March or Die all together.
Yeah, I March or Die. It has its moments, so I would put March or Die last in that.
Yeah, for me, my rankings before I get going, live album number 1 for sure. I would definitely go Bastards and then March or Die, then Sacrifice on third, because I don't know. It's the production that killed me on it. Like first notes of that, I'm like, wow. And maybe if I listened to it stand alone, but I listened to them like right in a row. But then it was so refreshing when I put that live album. I was like, whew. You know what it's like? It's like, say you go to the mall now and you're walking around for fucking 2 hours with your fucking mask on, and you walk outside and you take that fucking mask off. It was like that. It was just like that. And absolutely love the live stuff. Always fascinating talking about Motorhead and Lemmy. There's millions of stories out there, and the thing that surprises me is that he lived as long as he did.
Mm-hmm.
For his, he was the hard rock that I don't like to call them metal because they're not metal. No. The hard rock Keith Richards. But I mean, Keith Richards is still going, but he's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
But like, I really am shocked that Lemmy did last as long as he did, because I remember when you guys came back from the show, said like they pretty much just propped him up on the fucking stage.
Well, me and RA, I remember we were talking before we see Lemmy Before He Dies tour, and unfortunately, it was true.
It was, yeah. And they said when he recorded that Bad Magic album,
that's a great album.
It's a fantastic album. That is a great ending album for them.
100%.
And they said, his son talked about it, said he had a really, really tough time recording that album. I mean, the dude was riddled with cancer, and But apparently it didn't stop him from the Jack and Coke and stuff. And
He went to Diet Coke.
all that Diet Coke. Yeah.
He went to Diet
Yeah.
Coke.
So, cheers to Lemmy. Thanks for all the years of great music. And now we're getting the
I think
the
I'm
Phil
going to go
Cam-
home and have a Jack and Coke now.
There you go. So now we're getting the Phil Campbell and the Bastard Son stuff out that I absolutely love. I think it's fantastic. Mickey D, he's in Scorpions now, which is very cool. I want to see them. I want to see Scorpions with Mickey D. Because last time I saw them, it was with Kotak, and I mean that was before he really lost his mind.
Yeah.
But
he was
thinking Kingdom Come.
No, you can't stop.
I don't want to hear James Kotak ever again.
No, when he was with Scorpions.
When he was Scorpions, he was great. He was really good.
He was not better than Herman Rebel, but more visually.
Visually better to watch.
But yeah, and when he
Like Animal?
before he got off on whatever
I don't know what happened there. Like I said, and no offense to any drummers out there, when I go to a show, I don't want to hear the drummer talk. I do not want to hear you talk. I want to hear you sing if you sing a song or background.
What's my back say?
But I don't want to watch you take off your shirt and show off your fucking tattoos and shit. I don't. If you're a drummer, I don't want to hear you talk. After the show, talk all you want. Don't talk during the show. And but like I said,
So you're not an Eagles fan?
a couple
I'm not.
songs.
I don't even like the Philadelphia Eagles because of that.
Yeah,
that's a whole different podcast.
That's another. Yeah, that's another show. But thanks everybody for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Get out there, listen to some Motorhead. And these are middle 90s albums, which there's a lot. A lot of people don't even know that these albums exist. Like they know, the Ace of Spades, they know the early stuff and Overkill and that. But there's a lot of good Motorhead stuff out there. There really is, and I can't wait till we do the next one. It's going to be fun. And like I said, we won't wait for like over 100 episodes to do it, which blows my mind that, like I said, that we haven't done one in so long. But thanks for listening out there, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. Myself and BC, we just got our second COVID shots today, actually, and knock on wood, not feeling anything yet. Dylan's getting his in next week, and I hope everybody's staying safe out there, and we'll get through this stuff, and hopefully we can see some of you guys out there on the KISS Cruise in October, early November. If it goes, we will be there. Myself, Rob, Chris Granza, Sonny Pooney's going. The guys from Shout Loudcast are going. So we hope to see you guys there. And take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we'll see you next time. And there will be a next time.